Welcome back to Harmonize Your Life, conversations on self-care for women of color with your host, Dr. Toni G. Alvarado. I'm so excited to have you back for another month of discussions. We are now starting our series in the month of September, and we're going to have a fabulous month of discussions. You don't want to miss all of our guests that'll be coming to us live on the podcast this month. I want you to stay tuned because we have some really good shows in store for you this month. Well, good. Thank you again for being here and for joining in with us for another round of discussions on the Harmonize Your Life podcast. I'm very delighted to have a very special friend who's going to be sharing with us on today. I was recently a guest on her podcast show, and we came into relationship with one another a couple of months ago through mutual friends. And so we'll talk a little bit about that and how we got connected in just a minute. But will y'all help me welcome to the Harmonize Your Life podcast, Dr. Donna Marie Hunter, coming to us all the way from Southern California. Welcome, Dr. Donna. Welcome.
Thank you, Pastor Toni. Thank you, Dr. Toni. And it is sunshiny this month. In September is a good month. It's my birthday month, so I'm happy about this.
When is your birthday, Dr. Donna?
23rd.
Oh, you are kidding. Ariel's birthday is September 23rd. I knew that was a reason I loved you. Your birthday is September 23rd, and one of my good girlfriends, Tina Flowers, her birthday is September 23rd. And so I'm excited to have you on the show today.
Oh, I am excited. You know I'm excited. And I got a birthday twin in your house. I'm really excited. That's one more connection for you and I.
Yes, you have a birthday twin in my house, Ariel Alvarado. Yes, she is your birthday twin. She is our daughter, our youngest of the three young adults in our home. Well, shall I say four? Because our son, Jonathan, and his wife, Jasmine. Yes, so now I got four. Let's see. Jasmine and Jonathan just celebrated a wedding anniversary on August 30th. And so last year I had an addition to my family with our son getting married to the wonderful Jasmine Renee Howell Alvarado. And so, So thank you for being on our show on today. Thank you for coming and sharing. I'm so excited about our discussion. Can't wait to get into our discussion on today. I'm very, very delighted to have you with us. We are always happy to have women like yourself on the Harmonize Your Life podcast. It is an opportunity for me to educate, inspire, encourage, and just give information for women of color in the area of health and wellness and self-care. You know, that's one of my messages, one of the things that I feel very passionate about, one of the things that I am just elated to be able to bring to our women. Freely as I have received, I want to give back to our community. And I believe that knowledge is power. I believe that we perish for the lack of knowledge. And so as much knowledge and information as I can bring through this medium, through this podcast show, I want to be able to do so. And I have come in contact with some of the most amazing women like yourself since I began the Harmonize Your Life podcast. You and I met through mutual friends.
Yes. I mean, I tell you, this whole platform has made it so wonderful how we've been cross-pollinating, I call it. Yeah. You know, making sure, one, we meet someone, we connect with someone else, and look how it's blessing our lives. It's just blessing our lives.
It's blessing us. I mean, I met you when I did the book club for Shauna and Kim Shauna Francis Watley, and Kim Alexander, with the Wild group, with the Women in Investing in Leadership group. And I spoke at their retreat last year. And then this year I did their book club, but we were scheduled to do their retreat. But of course, because of COVID, they had to make some changes. And of course, just like all of us have had to do. And now we have found ourselves in this virtual world.
Mm-hmm. And we're connecting all the more, because I would have never connected with you. Well, I shouldn't say I probably would have, but this connection happened just because of that. Joining that book club, helped me to meet you and get connected. So I'm thrilled. All things work together for the good. They really do.
All things are working together for the good. And Dr. Donna, I am excited. And we're talking about book clubs. I'm excited because I'm holding a book in my hand right now. The book is entitled Women Who Rise, Women Who Rise. And you are a contributing author in this book. It's 30 inspirational stories or messages from women in this book. And your title is, your subject in the book, or your title for your chapter is The Repairer of the Breach. And it comes out of your story. And I want to delve into that. I want you to share some of your story. I want to encourage those who are listening to this podcast to dig in deep and listen, share it with others. Let them know that this is an opportunity for them to hear an inspirational story and to be encouraged as it relates to self-care. But I do want us to talk a little bit about this idea of overcoming devastation and disappointment and even depression. I want to add one more D in there because after reading the chapter, I realized that there was some things you even dealt with as it relates to depression behind your story. But I don't want to tell your story. I want to tell your story.
Well, I'm thrilled. I'm absolutely thrilled. Dr. Toni, I'm thrilled. I'm already your fan. I told you I'm going to follow you till the cows come home. I literally am like, I look at you, I look at your life, and I'm like, that portion I want. But in doing some of my own, like you said, self-care, the first portion, I would say, and even writing Repair of the Breach, the scripture that came to me as I was literally, my soul was being healed. That's the way I perceive it, as a portion of my soul being healed. I think and as you have read, I have a daughter with a severe special needs. She has a developmental delay. So my Allie cat, and everybody knows my Allie cat because I talk about her, I tweet about her, I Facebook about her. Yeah. Every chance I get, Allie's Allies was birthed because of the need to support and give care to people with developmental disabilities. So that's my whole banner. But in raising her, Pastor Toni, I was devastated. I'm just going to tell you, I had a plan for my life. I had a plan for my beautiful daughter. We were going to have this big, beautiful wedding and babies. I just had a plan, and not having my own relationship with my mother on that level that I could have a big wedding and have all of those things. I think vicariously, sometimes you just trying to live through your kids and you don't really know you're doing that. It's almost like a back burner. But I had this undercurrent where I was kind of existing and going through life. And I knew that there was something, but I couldn't kind of put my finger on it. But when I was really at the very low, and you're going to have to tell me when to stop, because I really can talk.
No, stop. It's okay. I read it in the book. I read the story in the book. And I mean, the way you wrote it, I felt like I was there with you. Specific points that you wrote in the book that I'm going to ask you about. But I want you to tell your story because it's a powerful story.
Okay, I'm going for it. Well, so in looking at and literally living this portion where I had this baby, my dream baby, and I have a son and he's amazing. He's smart, he taught himself to read. Like, I was going to have the picket fence. I was rocking it out with the husband in the house and the two babies, girl and a boy. I literally thought, heaven had smiled on me and that was going to be it. So I didn't really prepare myself and, we're Christians, and I'm thinking, just going to confess it and pray about it, and it's going to go away. Well, it didn't go away. Not the way in which I wanted it to. The healing did not come in the time and space that I wanted it to, so that I felt like I could live that full life, which landed me in a space where every time she had a landmark birthday, and I literally can feel it even now, when she turned 8 and she wasn't talking, I would go a little bit further in. When she turned 12, I literally lost my breath. That's okay, devastation, disappointment. When she turned 16 and there was no sweetness to it,
Oh, wow.
I was literally I'm depressed. I'm really depressed. And literally, I took her to her psychiatrist because she had to have certain meds to keep her from, getting too anxious. And she was just having a lot of issues and she needed medical advice and help. Mm-hmm. The doctor told me that I needed to get myself, together and get going. It was that conversation that let me know something was going on in me that I wasn't really dealing with. And that depression and anxiety and all of that had come to a head. I was literally when I gave my wedding dress away, and you could read that in the chapter, I literally left it. I didn't give it away because I couldn't. I couldn't give it away.
That was so interesting when I read that in the book, when you talked about how you all were getting ready to move and you couldn't even take the wedding dress with you. You just left it in the closet.
Left it.
Wow.
I could. Pastor Toni, that's when I tell you, it literally came home for me when I could not pick that dress up because I even get emotional now. It was tied to the dream, and I was disappointed, and I was depressed, and I was hurt.
Oh my!
And so I drove away with the dress right there.
Moving a little fast. Wait. Lord, hang on.
Okay. I got all excited.
No, I want you to hear. I want our guests to hear this because you said the dress was tied to the dream.
It was.
And that's so important because how many things do we have tied to dreams as women? How many things do we have tied? A house, a car, a relationship, a dress. You know what I'm saying? Wedding dress. We have things attached to our dreams. And when those dreams are, when we come up against disappointment and those dreams do not turn out the way we dreamed they would, oftentimes disappointment and devastation and even depression sets in.
Yes. I was there.
What made you leave the dress in the closet?
I couldn't pick it up.
Wow.
It was too hard. It didn't weigh. It wasn't the weight of it. It was the weight of it. I couldn't. The house was vacant. The dress was still there. And I literally could not. I literally feel the I still get teary-eyed. I couldn't take it. I couldn't, because it represented my hope for my daughter, and I couldn't do it. So that breach happened literally over time, but it also in that moment, I couldn't do it, Dr. Toni. I couldn't do it. And 20, 30 years later, here we are. My girlfriend, LaDonna, her daughter, Ryan Nicole, asked me to come and be a part of her wedding. And I can't really understand. I tell you all this. I had nieces that had gotten married. My son and my beautiful daughter-in-law, Janessa, they had just gotten married. They got married 2 years ago. And so I'm kind of in and out of this. They're trying to include me. It's, it's a wonderful, beautiful time. It's not like I'm left out. They literally
I understand. I just went through that a year ago with my son, and it was a beautiful experience to be a part of my son's wedding and all of that. But you know what? It's different because I'm not the mother of the bride. You know what I'm saying? I get what you're saying. Even though it was wonderful and I had a great experience with it, but it's different than being the mother of the bride.
It's different. And that portion of it also made it very, I'm not going to say complicated, but if somebody like Ryan invites me to go with her and her mom to her dress. So if it's that important to us, right? I don't want to breach with LaDonna. because she has a dream too, right? I don't want to have a breach with her. That's her baby. That's her daughter. I don't want to do that. But Ryan is adamant, and I don't exactly know why, but God does. She's adamant. She says, no, I've talked to mom, and she FaceTimes me. I'm blubbering. She's blubbering. And she asked me to go with her to pick out her dress. And it is I hit the floor. You know, when she comes out in the dress, I start dry heaving. I literally just, it was over for me. I mean, I was like, if I can just go to heaven, I felt like, you know, I'm coming to join you, Elizabeth. I'm coming to join you. I hit the floor, Pastor Toni. I was like, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it. I literally, I mean, Donna was good to me because I was jacked up. I was messed up. But that portion, when she did that, and then coming forward, she asked me for something when she, you know, for my dress. And when she asked me for something from my dress, and I had to say, I don't have the dress. Oh. And I left it in the closet. It was one, you know, it was like a reminder that I had that weakness. Like it was a reminder. But once she showed me that she had, and so I did give her something from my wedding that I had. I had a handkerchief. And I gave it to her on the day of. It wasn't the handkerchief she used in her wedding, because she used one from her mother-in-law, her soon-to-be mother-in-law. But when she posted the thought that she thanked me for coming with her, from, you know, to being with her mom, and she posted that she would keep the handkerchief because that's all I had left from my day, and what it meant to her, it healed my soul. I mean, I will say this, the repair of the breach. Literally, I'm driving the car from the wedding, and I hear the scripture, repair of the breach, Isaiah 58:12. Okay. They shall be repairers of the breach. The generations shall be repairers of the breach. Okay. And I didn't know what it meant. So I looked it up and I saw it and I felt it. But I say this to you also. When I think about the season that I'd come through, the one thing that I would say that kept me from going into truly, I would say deep depression or anxiety and all of that comes with kind of devastation and, you know, just emotional stress, that I would walk every single day. Like that was when you say things about self-care, I did not know it was my saving. I didn't know that was taking some of the pressure and the anxiety, which is why I didn't go into, you know, a deep depression and have to go get medication and what have you. I had girlfriends. I didn't talk too much to them, but I walked and I would just talk to God and I walked it out. That was the way in which it started to heal. It started to heal.
Yeah. I mean, you know me, I love walking. I walk, and I really got more. I used to run more. I used to do more 5Ks, 10Ks, and I've done a half marathon and really would love to, really plan to get back into running. I would like to do one of my life dreams is to do a full marathon. I don't know if I'll do it or not, but it is one of those things that's on my bucket list, right? And, but you know, I had foot surgery a few years ago, so I don't run like I used to, but I started walking, and then, you know, we talked about this on your podcast. I started hiking this year. That's part of it was one of the things I did in this pandemic that has been very healing to my soul. Walking and hiking and exploring new trails and things of that nature. But I want to get back to something in your story, and I want you're talking about this idea of your daughter. You have a special needs daughter. The dreams, the hope that you had for a relationship, the kind of relationship that you thought you would have with your daughter. Not that you don't have a relationship, but the kind of relationship is different than what you dreamed it would be. And that's devastating. That's and it's something that you can't do anything about. It's out of your control. It's disappointment. And that's a deep disappointment, a disappointment in your soul, a disappointment in your heart. And it took you into a dark place. And you talk about that in the book. So I want to kind of shift the conversation just a little bit to offering. I would like for you to offer women, particularly women who have dealt with depression, disappointment. It might not be a special need child. It may be a failed relationship. It might be something else in life, disappointment with family or whatever, disappointment in yourself, devastation, disappointment. talk to us about the role of self-care and why that's important in overcoming disappointment and devastation.
Oh, I can tell you what I had to walk through and why I'm still on this side of the earth. And I thank God for that. And one thing like I said, the first thing I would say is one, just to recognize that you are devastated and you are disappointed. That was the first portion. That's the first part of repair. So the acronym is REPAIR, repair.
Okay.
And that portion where you recognize it and you go ahead and you emotionally release it. You go ahead, you recognize it, and you emotionally release. So that's the R, release.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You have to will it. You have to will it. You have to will it and say, I release this and all of the anger, anxiety that goes with it. Then I say E.
Hold on, you know me. I'm going to put, I put my pen
I think that's page 96. It's page 96. So if you go there and it has the RE, it has the acronym. Yeah, so the E.
I'm getting me. I'm getting my pen. Okay, release.
Yeah, it's the E. It's the E is entreat. If you know the holy God of Scripture, it is time for you to entreat him. It is time for you to look to him and say, I want you to know, God, I'm extremely disappointed. I'm devastated and I'm depressed and I need you right now. You entreat him. You petition him like you going to lose your last breath. And I'm telling you, that's what you have to do. I'm saying it. I'm saying it because I'm like, you better entreat God because you can't do this by yourself. You cannot. And then I say petit. The P is petition because I say you petition God because there's a portion only he can do. You petition him. You tell him the who, what, when, how, where. Just petition the Lord. You can write it out if you need to. And I say petition because usually a petition, you write something out. You tell him. And then I say the A. There's an action associated when you go into a place where you want to believe God for that release. You always have to have an action. God is an actionable God. He wants you to move in what you say you want and what you want to believe. So there's an A, there's an action. You've got to do something. And I'm telling you, you can call a counselor, call your girlfriends. You got to call you got to call Dr. Toni, sign up for her group. I did. You got to do something. You got to do something. It's like it's osmosis. He's put people on the earth, his hands and his feet here to help you through this season. You've got to act like you want something. You got to have an action. And then I say invite. There's one thing about God. Okay, it's a lot of things about God. But you've got to invite. You know how he always does? He does things like this. If you will give him your morning, he'll give you the joy, right? Remember, I'll give you the joy, the oil of joy for the morning, or he'll give you the garment of praise for the spirit of happiness. Invite it. Whenever you invite something in, it cast out, invite something in. Put something else in the place of that thing that you now want. And for me, I was like, I'm inviting in joy. I'm inviting in peace. Lord, take the depression, take the anxiety, take the devastation. I'm inviting in peace in this situation in my life because I want to live and not die and declare the works of the Lord. And then the last one is the R. There's a restorative process. There's a restorative process. You are not on this earth. You are not on this earth just for yourself. So after you've released and you've entreated, you've petitioned and you've done your actionable steps and you've invited God into that space. You then go to that part where you say the restoration portion, because the only way the cycle continues is if you go and do something for someone else. You ask God to restore to you the dream. That's the first part. I say, give me a new dream, God. Give me something else to look forward to. And that was the portion which Ryan did for me. Wow. She gave me a new dream. The dream came. It just didn't. You got to give God space and room to bring it the way he brings it. It's not the healing didn't come from my daughter. The healing came from my soul so that I could release it and accept my daughter for where she is and still believe God for the miracle. And still believe God for the miracle. I still believe him. But at the same time, I'm not walking around here devastated and depressed. Cannot. I cannot.
Good. This is so good. I love that. So I hope you all of you that are listening, listen, repair, listen to the acronym, release, petition, action, invite, and restore. I love that. I love that, and the way that you explained it, and the way that you walk that out, and I can
walk it out.
And I can see it on you, Dr. Donna. I haven't known you long at all. We just met a few months ago through Kim and Shauna, and you joined the Self-Care Network. And I've been on your podcast, and we've talked a few times. You joined the yoga group. We're doing yoga on Monday nights together. But I can see and having read, and thank you, because you sent me this book as a gift. Thank you so much for this book. And I'm going to take time to read all the stories in the book. I zeroed in on yours immediately and in preparation for today. But I want to read some of the others, because I know if any of the women in this book are like you, then this whole book is a blessing. Women Who Rise, you all. Get this book, yes. Women Who Rise. And Dr. Donna has a story in here. She's talking about her daughter, Allie, and the disappointment and devastation that she experienced when she discovered her daughter's special need. I think you put in the book autism. She's on the autism spectrum. Yes. And so you talked about that. Now you said something in the book. I want to go back to something. You said there was something you said in here that I really want to go back to. You said that I am a mother trying to love herself through her child, admittedly and emotionally unaware of the great need in my own soul to mother myself.
Yeah.
That line just I mean, I could have ran around the house when I read that. I highlighted it and underlined it and put an asterisk by it. You said, I am the mother trying to love herself through her child, admittedly and emotionally unaware of the grave need in my soul to mother myself. Yeah. So many of us as women can relate to this, because we try to love ourselves through our children. As mothers, if you have a child, any woman on here knows, if you have a child, we put our soul into our children. We get our pride and our joy from being mothers. We talk about what our kids are doing. In school. We get a lot of our identity from the success of our children. Isn't that right? Yeah. We do. I'm going to be honest. I do it. I love posting about my son and my daughter-in-law and both of my sons. Even though one of my sons has a special need, when he does something that we're super proud of or whatever, we are like, oh my God, look at what Josh has done. Look at what Jonathan is doing. Look at what Ari's doing. And that's what we do as mothers. We show people pictures of our children. We want their trophies are our trophies. And that's a part of being a mother. But there's an unhealthy place that we all go to as mothers, where we find our sole identity in being their mother. We find our sole identity, and we sometimes we pour so much of our emotional health and wellness into them that we don't save any for ourselves.
2 snaps, and I'm going to do around the world. I'm serious about that one. You hit it on.
So what woke you up to that? When you wrote that, I was like, I've never heard anyone put it like that, Dr. Donna. When you said, I was loving myself through her, we all do it. But then you said you were unaware of your grave need in your soul to mother yourself. So talk about this whole idea of mothering myself. And that's self-care for me. When I hear that, I hear self-care, because as mothers, we take care of everybody. We're caregivers, right? Yes. But what we do oftentimes is we do all of that at the expense of our soul.
Yeah. And we're depleted. The other portion is there's a season in my life when I'll say this too. Not everybody got the same type of mothering. So there's a breach. There's a breach there. There's an open chasm there that has not been filled. There's some things there that are missing. Whether it was for me, like I felt like abandonment, and I say that my dad left in very early in life, and then my mother went through some seasons. So there was a chasm. There was a breach there. So when I had kids, now I don't know this, but now I do, and I understand it as the Lord has healed and brought healing to that breach. you start to do exactly what you said. You start mothering your kids, understanding you literally are vicariously trying to fill your own soul. So poor children, they getting all this stuff. They getting all this from you, and you literally, they're like, we good, we're good. It's okay now. You can let us go and go ahead and live your life. We are good. We are good.
They are just
you can do it. Yeah. Like we just keep going. Like, okay, they're out of the stage. You can release them, and you're still doing it. Okay, let it go. Let the Lord go back in and heal that part of you so that you can go ahead and love them as adult children and having an adult one-on-one relationship. You're not constantly, and I still do it. I did it today to my son. I'm at the
we are guilty. We all do it. We all do it. We do it. Yes. So you said release it and come to a realization that we have to release them. Yes. So that we can release ourselves.
Yes. We got to release them, and we got to let the Lord go in and repair that breach. Let him repair it. Let him repair it.
Other issues, whether I don't care what happened, whether we had good mothers or what we call good mothers, or whatever the relationship was with our mothers. I don't like to put an adjective on it like that, because you just never know what people's circumstances are.
Right.
And our adjectives are so inadequate in defining relationships in life. And so, but no matter what the situation was, or the circumstance of our mothering or fathering,
our parenting,
or parenting, or the family of origin that we were raised in. But a lot of times what we do as parents go back to our family of origin, good, bad, and different. And so, but allowing God, I heard you say, allowing God to heal that part of our soul so that we will spend the rest of our lives trying to live our lives vicariously through our children, and neglecting our own soul.
Yes.
And coming up empty and wanting. And that's what self-care is about, Dr. Donna. That's one of my, and there's so many prisms, so many ways that we can come at self-care. It's not a one-size-fit-all proposition. You've heard me say that before. If you follow my podcast, you've heard me say that before. It's different at different seasons of our lives, right? It's different. Junctures. So what self-care looks like for me now at 57 with 3 young adult children or young adults. I don't even want to call them children, with 2 sons, 2 young adult sons, and a young adult daughter, and a young adult daughter-in-law, and maybe one day grandchildren. What self-care looks like for Toni Alvarado now is different than it did 20 years ago when I started on this journey. And so I'm just so grateful to you. I'm excited. How can our guests get in touch with you? I'm going to put a couple of banners up so that they can see. I want them to see your website here, Dr. Donna Marie Hunter.
That's it.
That's your website. And
that's it.
You all go to Dr. Donna Marie's website. I want you to go to her website, her Allie's Allies. Tell us a little bit about Allie's Allies real quick. What is that?
Right. So that's the nonprofit associated, and they also are the sponsor for our podcast. And that is an outcry to support families who have a child with a developmental disability. And we then go out and educate, enlighten, and empower. So we help parents, realize maybe there's something wrong. There's nothing wrong with you, and help offer them some support. And then we educate them on how to identify a developmental delay early so that they can get the help they need. Because in the African American community, there's a huge disparity between the timely, accurate, and developmental disabilities. So they always end up in the school district late. They end up getting support late. Well, some of those therapies that my daughter did not get, had I known and had I had access, maybe her trajectory, maybe her outcome would have been different.
Okay.
By the grace of God, maybe. But Allie's Allies is just that. It is and it's all, you can get there directly from my website. And it's just a nonprofit that goes out and gives information to families so that they can then get connected with resources, information, and also there's some hope. I want to just make sure that the parents have some hope. Because no matter what, nobody's a perfect parent. We just said that. I'm not. There's no such thing. So you may need some help and support. And that's what Allie's Allies is all about. So you can again, follow me on any of my social media handles, or just go to the website and you can connect with us on any area to get more information about our resources and our help.
Wow. Thank you, Dr. Donna. That's wonderful. And you know me, I love being able to give information and connect women and men with resources that can help us live our lives and live the abundant life that Jesus said that we should live. And so thank you. I appreciate that. I'm hoping that some of our listeners, if you don't have a special needs child, or you know someone with a special needs child, that you'll connect with Dr. Donna and Allie's Allies and that nonprofit, as they are giving education and resources and support to families who are dealing with children with special needs. I was on one of your podcast shows last week, and I saw an interview that you did with a mother with a child with autism, and it really blessed me to see the work that you are doing. I'm glad. Thank you all so much for coming on the podcast show today. This is Harmonize Your Life, Conversations on Self-Care for Women of Color with Dr. Toni Alvarado. Listen, you can now listen to the podcast, not just on Spotify, Google, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. You can also now watch the interviews on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, Dr. Toni G. Alvarado. I want to encourage all the women to join the Harmonize Your Life Self-Care Network. Dr. Donna is in the network. Yay. She's a part of our network, and we are doing some amazing work there on self-care. It's growing. The network is growing. Oh my God, I'm just amazed. We just started the network a couple of months ago, and it is growing every week. It is growing. More women are catching on, more women are joining, and we are encouraging one another. We are giving information, inspiration. When you join the network, you get invited to Dr. Toni, Tea Time with Dr. Toni, and so many other exciting things that happen when you join the Harmonize Your Life Women's Self-Care Network. Thank you again, Dr. Donna,
for having me, Dr. Toni.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm again so appreciative of the connection. I'm appreciative of the relationship. Thank you. I appreciate Kim and Shauna for connecting us. And we are forever connected now. All right. Especially I know your birthday twin lives in my house. All right. Yes. So we are forever connected. Thank you again, sis. I love you and appreciate God for you. Hi, this is Dr. Toni Alvarado. I am so delighted about bringing the Harmonize Your Life podcast to you. Would you do me a favor? If you are enjoying this podcast, would you email me at hello@drtonialvarado.com? I want to hear from you. I want your feedback. I want to know if there are any other topics that you are interested in as it relates to wellness, self-care, nutrition, or just overall bringing harmony into your life. Email me, contact me at hello@drtonialvarado.com.